everyone, welcome back to the day 5 of Advent of Cyber 2024 from TryHackMe. So we are continuing with the daily task of the Advent of Cyber, and day 5 has been officially launched. So it looks like we have a red team kind of activity today because the coloration here it shows in red and it says SOCMAS XXE. So without any further ado, just let's dive in. The story. The days in the werewolves flew by. The software's project were nearly complete, just in time for Christmas. One evening, after wrapping up work, Software was strolling through the town when he came across a young boy looking dejected. Curious, Software asked, "What would you like for Christmas?" The boy replied with a sign, "I wish for a teddy bear, but I know what my family can't afford one." This brief conversation sparked an idea in Software's mind. What if there was a platform where everyone in the town could share their Christmas wishes and Mayor's office could help make them come true? Excited by the potential, Software introduced the idea to Mayor Malware, who embraced it immediately. The mayor encouraged the team to build a platform for the people of Wavell. Through the developers' dedication and effort, the platform was soon ready and became an instant hit. The townspeople loved it. However, in their rush to meet the holiday deadline, the team had overlooked some critical, thorough security testing. Even Mayor's malware had chipped in to help develop a feature in the final hours. Now it's up to you to ensure the application is secure and free of vulnerabilities. Can you guarantee the platform runs safely for peoples of Babel? Let's see. Now, before we actually understand and perform the red team activities, we need to understand few critical informations or knowledge which we need to have for this today's task. So it is about extensible markup language or the XML. So XML is commonly used method to transport and store data in a structured format that humans and machines can easily understand. Consider a scenario where two computers need to communicate and share data. Both devices need to agree on a common format of exchanging information. This agreement format is known as XML. You can think of XML as a digital filing cabinet. As you can see here, it looks like that. Just as a filing cabinet has folders with labeled document inside, XML uses tags to label and organize information. These tags are like folders that define the type of data stored. This is what an XML looks like, a simple piece of text information organized in a structured manner. So basically, you have a structured manner of view where humans and the computers both can use for storing in data in a pretty good manner. So it looks like a cabinet, or it looks like a set of folders where it is stored in a defined place. Okay, so it's just a hypothetical view of how it would look like. And this is the structured language, how it looks. So it's in you have a folder called people, under which you have different files or folders in it called name, address, email, phones, and all those. So this is the structure of that. In this case, the tags, people, name, address acts like folders in the filing cabinet, but now they store data about glitch. The content inside the tags like glitch, verbal, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 represents the actual data being stored. Like before, the key benefit of XML is that it is easily shareable and customizable, allowing you to create your own tags. So it's like if you wanted another tag, for example, last name to be added, you just need to add a another folder. Okay, a folder which contains the last name folder name, and the contents inside it are the contents like the last names of that user or that person in that folder. So document type definition. So DTD. Now that two computers have agreed to share data in common format, what about the structure of the format? Here is when DTD comes into play. A DTD is a set of rules that defines the structure of an XML document, just like a database schema. It acts like a blueprint, telling you what elements, tags, and attributes are allowed in the XML file. Think like think of it as a guideline that ensures the XML document follows a specific structure. For example, if you want to ensure that an XML document about people will always include name, address, email, and phone number, we could define those rules through DTD as shown below. So this is the structure how the DTD file format is going to look like, where you have the folder name or the section what you want to have, and then under that what and all folders like name, address, email, phone, and it's going to be written in this way. So hashtag PCDATA is basically a standard pass for people data, meaning it will consist of just plain text. So basically, it's where you store all the past data in the manner. That's it. I mean, nothing much to say about it. So entities, so far both computers have agreed on the format, the structure of the data, and the type of data that will share. Entries in XML are placeholders that allow the insertion of large chunks of data or referencing internal or external files. They assist in making the XML file easy to manage, especially when the same data is represented multiple times. Entities can be defined internally within the XML document or externally, referencing data from an outside source. For example, an external entity reference data from an external file or resources. The following code, the entity and ext could refer to an external file located at the location, which would be loaded into the XML if you allow it to by the system. So basically, what they mean is that now when you have the XML and the DTD defined, now how do you bring up the information or the data from the external or the internal sources and store it? So if you want to say that you want to have an external file from the system, you can just say entity and then the external tag to it, and system where it should be saved and location where it is from, and then the rest of the XML files there. We are specifically discussing external entities because it is the one of the main reasons that XXE is introduced if it is not properly managed. So XXE is XML External Entity. So it's a vulnerability that is caused due to not proper filtration or definition of the XML way, how it should be passed basically. So it's that vulnerability which is causes this XXE. After understanding XML and how the entities work, we can now explore XXE vulnerability. And XXE is an attack that takes advantage of how XML parses handled external entities. Where a web application processes an XML file that contains external entity, the parse attempts to load or execute whatever resource the entity points to. If necessary, sanitization is not in place, the attacker may point the entity to a malicious source of code causing undesired behavior of the web application. So basically, if you're not defining the XML the way how it is going to be passed, I could send in a malicious payload which will be containing a malicious link or a file that is there in a different location. And by the nature of how it is being processed, it is going to first try and execute the resources whatever is pointed to. It's going to try running it, and if it is containing a malicious code, the location which we have defined, it's going to just run that in the page and it's going to give out something which we had initially not expected to have. Here's the entity and THM file. So this is our entity that is defined and it is located to etc pass wd. Okay, so it's where all the user information present in the computer is stored. Refers to the sensitive file etc pass wd on the system. When the XML is processed, the pass will try to load and display the contents of that file, exposing sensitive information about the attacker. In the upcoming task, we will examine how XXE works and how to exploit it. So connecting to the machine in today's task, we need to have the attack box and the VM. So let's click on this because it does take some time. Let me also go to the top of my screen to start my attack box. So start attack box, and so I guess oh wow, nice, the video has also been launched of today. Now coming down to where we left off. So practical. Now that you understand the basic concept related to XML and XXE, we will analyze an application that allows users to view and add products to their cart and perform the checkout activity. You can access the Wearables application hosted on the machine IP, which is yet to be given to us. This application allows users to request for their Christmas wishes. Flow of application. So let me wait for the machine to load up. Till then, with the power of editing and the magic hands of the software, you will see me with the application after I flick my finger like this. So we are with the wearables wish vibe. So here where we can look for some of our interesting products that we wish to buy for our Christmas. So I would like to have a cap or a teddy bear or a Vadi cane. So let's go for the cap because cap looks quite something which I would use now. So I'll add to the wish list. Now, what else happens? That's it. Okay, item added to the wish list successfully. So let's go to the products, the cart. So in the cart page, I can see that I have my cap selected. So the quantity is one. Then let's go to proceed for checkout. Now here, full name, I will say I am Yeti, and then my address is the cave. So let's also add some address. So hashtag 123 cave, and then complete my checkout process. Click on complete checkout, and it says wish successful. Your wish has been saved as wish 21. So what will happen if I open that? So I've opened it, try to open that in the new tab. Coming here, it says error. Errors Santas and slave are the only ones who can read wishes. So which means we can't access it. Basically, the admins of the Santa can only access it. Now let's continue with reading the description down till here. Okay, intercepting the request. Before discussing exploiting XXE on the web, let's learn how to intercept the request. First, we'll need to configure the environment so that as a pen tester, all web traffics from our browser is routed through Burp Suite. This allows us to see and manipulate the request as we browse. So let's do that here. Now for that, I will minimize my Firefox and then come here and select the community edition of Burp Suite, which is pre-installed. Then let's give it some time for it to load. So once it loads, click on next, then click on start burp. So we are using a temporary project of the community edition for doing our analysis today. And one more thing, you are not really a hacker if you have a light themed burp suite or any tool. So first thing is let's change that. So let's come to the burp, comes to burp. So settings, user interface, display, and then dark. And also let me increase the font to something. Okay, so I am in my hacker zone now. Okay, so let's come to the proxy tab. Proxy tab is where you will be able to intercept the request that is coming from your browser before it actually leaves to the server. It's going to usually directly goes to the server, but what we are doing is we are adding ourselves in between, saying that whatever traffic is there from the web browser, pass it through my Burp Suite, and then that is going to be forwarding later to the server. So we are acting as a middleman before the web browser or the web page is interacting with the backend server of it. So here is the place where you will get all the traffics. Now for that, before we do it, let's open the proxy settings and then click on Burp's browser. So instead of using or modifying the proxy networks or proxy connections of our default Firefox browser, we are opening a pre-built something related to Firefox or on the basis of Firefox browser itself, one which is configured to pass in all these data to our proxy. It's already pre-configured. So we're using that default browser from Burp Suite. So before we actually click on or start the Burp Suite, let's do a small modification which says allow Burp browser to run without a sandbox. So which is going to not have that strict rules over how the browser is going to behave. We're just removing that. So then after you click on that, close the window, then click on open browser here. So which is going to open that pre-configured and built-in browser which has been configured to pass in all the information to the Burp Suite. So the Burp Suite has loaded here, and then let's make it full screen and paste in our IP address that was for our target of today. So here you can see that it still says loading. Now when you go to Burp Suite here, and you see that we are having a request passing from the browser to the server, but it has been intercepted here by our proxy. So let's click on forward, which is going to forward all the requests that it was trying, or the proxy message that was being stopped. It's going to forward that. And now if I make a side by side window of this, so having a windows side by side, you can now see everything that happens in live motion. So let me just click on the URL again, and you can see the request being stopped here. And then once I click on forward, you'll be able to see the browser loading it again. Now, what let's do is let's refresh the page once again, and let's see what is being actually requested by the server. So when you click on this inside the request option, you will be able to see, let me just close all this. You'll be able to see the contents that is being passed. So the get method, host, the location where it is sending all the information and all those things. So now let's forward that. Let's click on view the product one that we have here. So it's going to be, again, it's going to get the products from the products.php, and it says ID1. Okay, which is something which is different than what we would actually see. So what let's do is let's send this particular request to our repeater, which will help us to send the same request multiple times again. Basically, you can save the request and the response that you are working with. So let me just click on forward, which then makes the page load there. But in the repeater tab, let's send this request that we had got. So with the ID1 here, you can see in the top, and it loads the page in here. We can even render this and be able to see the output of the browser that would give us in this small window. So let me make this half and make this little bigger and close all this option there. So we can see the request and the response showing up. Okay, so what will happen if I change the ID to 2? So send that, and that shows us a different product. So you can see that we are able to modify the requests that is being passed from the browser, which is being intercepted by the proxy. And before it actually be sent to the server, we are intercepting and modifying the requests that we initially made. So by changing the parameter of the ID from 1 to 2, we just got a different response altogether. What about 3? So when I change the product number, it says the candy. Now, similarly, let's go to the web page here and look at what is there for us today. So here, what's happening in the backend? Now, when you visit the product.php and click add to wishlist, Ajax call is made to the wishlist.php with the following XML as an input. So let's look at that here. Now, under my proxy and the browser here, I would like to add this to my wish list. When I click that, you can see the request being made, and in the request as defined, we're able to see this wish list with all the information that was given in the XML format, which is being passed to the server. In the XML above, the product ID contains an ID of the product, which is 1 in this case. Now let's review the add to wishlist request logged in Burp Suite's HTTP history option under the proxy tab. So now, in case imagine you missed out to intercept any of these requests, what you can do is you can always come to the HTTP history and you'll have a log of all the requests that were made by the browser before it went to its respective servers. So in our case, everything is related to our target itself because we have not accessed anything other than that. So now what we'll do is we'll send this particular request to the repeater and then we will let this forward the message. It says item added successfully to your wish list. Now going to the repeater again, we have two tabs. This is the one which we initially were playing with, and the second tab where we contain our XML list here. So this is our XML which is being passed to the server in the backend. Now this wishlist.php accesses the request and passes the request in the following code. So it's going to make this in this particular format and then it's saying echo item added to your wishlist successfully. Preparing the payload. When a user sends specially crafted XML data to the application, the line this allows the XML parser to load the external entities. This means that the XML input can include external file references or requests to the remote server. When the XML is processed by simple XML load string with the lib XML no entity option, the web app resolves the external entity, allowing the attacker to access to sensitive files or allowing them to make unintended requests from the server. So this is the payload which they are telling that we can modify it into. What if we update the XML request to include the reference of external entities? We'll use the following XML instead of the above XML. So we are modifying this XML from the one which was asking for the product ID or submitting the product ID which we want in our wish list to the one which has um, a different file altogether being accessed. Now, this is the system file which contains the list of hosts which are present in the system. Now, let's do that exploitation using repeater. So, let's copy the payload from here. We have our wishlist.php already in our repeater. Let's modify this wish list to the one which we have copied from the TryHackMe page. Now in the clipboard, let's paste in the command and let me minimize that and replace these values with the one which we want as our new payload. So you can see that it is saying doc type foo entity payload system to the etc host file. And then we are submitting all the contents, but with a small change. Instead of the product ID, we are passing in the payload which we have defined here. So now let's click on the submit button and wait for the response to show up. So it says the response 200, which is giving us a list of host names that is present in the system, which means that our application is vulnerable to this attack. So continue reading this one post. It says, just shows this thing. So time for some action. Now that you have identified a vulnerability in the application, it's time to see it in action. MixKitty software has tasked us with finding loopholes, and we have successfully encountered one in the wishlist.php endpoint. But our work doesn't end here. Let's take a step further and access the potential impact this vulnerability could have on the application. Earlier, we discovered a page accessible only by administrator, which seems like an exciting target. What if we could use the vulnerability we have found to access the sensitive information, like the wish placed by town peoples? Now that our objective is clear, let's leverage the vulnerability we discovered to read the content of each of the wish page and demonstrate the full extent of this flaw to help MixKitty secure the platform. To get started, let's recall the page that is only accessible by the admins, which is wish1.txt. Using this path, we just need to guess the potential absolute path of the file. Typically, the web application are hosted on the slash var www.html within With that in mind, let's build our new payload to read the wish list leveraging the vulnerability. Note, not all web application uses var www HTML, but the web servers typically use it. So that's our target now. Let's modify the request here. Then let me paste that in here. But before that, let's say var www then HTML. So this should be it. Now coming to the request page. Okay, so now that our payload is ready, let's just send the request and see what's going to be our output. So here we see that it says Bandy Cane quantity 1 is invalid. So which means that the first request that was made by one of the people was the Bandy Cane. So now let's check with other wishes. So let's modify from wish 1 to wish 2 and then pass in to the application. And what is the response? It says another Bandy Cane. So wish 2, the product ID was wish 2 and name was for the mayor malware. Okay, so now coming back to the challenge here, scrolling down. As a result, we are able to view the next wish. You may observe that we just incremented the number by 1. Giving this, you may continue checking other wishes and see all the wishes stored in the application. So our wish number initially was 21. After iterating through the wishes, we have proved the potential impact of the vulnerability, and anyone who leverages this could read the wishes submitted by the town's people of Werewell. So, conclusion. It was confirmed that the application was vulnerable and the developers were not at fault since they only wanted to give the townspeople something before Christmas. However, it became evident that bypassing security testing led to an application that did not securely handle incoming requests. As soon as the vulnerability was discovered, Mixkitty prompted coordinated with the developers to implement the necessary mitigation. The following up proactive approach helped to address the potential risk against XXE attacks. So disable external entity loading. So primary fix to disable external entity loading in your XML pass. In PHP, for example, you can prevent XXE by setting this option. So it's basically saying, no, you're not supposed to refer or bring in anything from external resources other than what is by default programmed it to do. So validate and sanitize user input. Always validate and sanitize the XML input received from user. This ensures that only expected data is processed, reducing the risk of malicious content being included in the request. For example, remove suspicious keywords like /etc/password from the request. After discovering the vulnerability, Mixkitty immediately remembered that the changelog file exists within the web application stored at the following endpoint. After checking, it was seen that someone pushed the vulnerable code within the application of after software team. With this discovery, Mixkitty still couldn't confirm whether the mayors intentionally made the application vulnerable. However, the mayor had already become suspicious, and Mixkitty began to formulate theories about this possible involvement. Coming to today's challenges, what is the flag discovered after navigating through the wishes? Okay, so let's discover through some of the wishes that was placed. Okay, so let's change the request to wish 3 and it says nothing. So wish 4, no, wish 5, okay, wish 6. So after a bit of increasing the number for looking at the wishes, we found the flag from here. So let's select that thing, then come here and copy this and paste it as our flag of today. So click on submit. That's nice. What is the flag seen on the possible proof of sabotage? So let's change it to the change log. Okay, let me copy that. Then let me put that in here and close this and go to the browser here and add that location to my browser's URL tab. So paste that in, press enter, and that says commit to this and date mayor. We get the flag, which is a proof of this website being compromised. So let's select that, click on copy from here, then pasting it here, click on submit. Ooh, that's nice. Let's click on submit for all these things. Following Mixkitty's advice, software recently hardened the server. It used to have many unneeded open ports, but no more. Not this matter in any way. That's nice. So maybe that's a challenge for tomorrow. Probably I'm thinking it's about Nmap because it's all about ports there. So that is it. We have finished the day 5 of Advent of Cyber's 2024 challenge. Hope you did like the video, and if you did, please click on that or hit on that like button. And if you're new to this channel, hit on that subscribe button and even turn on the notifications to be notified whenever I upload a new video. So continuing with the challenges and the series of Advent of Cyber, tune in tomorrow at the same time for the day 6 challenge. So I'm excited. Hope you are too. So till then, stay happy, stay smiling. Bye bye.